I want to talk to you about a project that we've called the DOT project, so the open door, and it's ultimately around supporting early adolescents in their peer relationships. So it's called DOT because it's actually the German acronym, so Die offene Tür, and that's because it's funded by an Austrian research institute, the Ludwig Boltzmann Society. So just sorry, but no, you're not good. Sonia, can you tell me? Can you see the people on the screen?
Yes.
So I need to get rid of them somehow. How do I do that?
Oh no, I don't worry about the being able to see the participant list. That's just you. I think everyone else can see your slides.
You can just see my slides. Okay.
Close it. Yeah.
Sorry, that's fine. Yeah, so it's a large interdisciplinary team, and it's led by 5 of us, including me and the people in bold on that slide. So João Dias from University of Algarve, Maria Mittig from Karl Landsteiner University, Beata Schrank also from Karl Landsteiner University, and Adam Barnard, who's not an academic but an independent theatre director and playwright from the south of the UK. So this is it's a real collective effort. So I just want to start off by talking about some of the modelling work that we've done to work out how best to support early adolescents' peer relationships. So we're really trying to support them at the time when they move from primary to secondary school. And the reason that we think that this is an important time is because obviously it's a time of high risk when peer relationships might be lost, but it's also a great opportunity when peer relationships that can potentially last the whole of children's lives could be formed. So the first modelling exercise that we did was a very large systematic literature review that we included more than 300 studies, ultimately looking at they measured an aspect of supportive peer relationships and then some other factor or factors that could act as potential determinants. So basically these were correlates. So after getting all these articles, we grouped them together into clusters of factors that could potentially be determinants of supportive peer relationships. And then we use that to form the model that you can see on the left of this slide, which basically puts identity at the centre of the model inside a number of levels of what we're calling self-building blocks, which are basically individual characteristics that can help support peer relationships. And these self-building blocks exist within several environmental planes that you can see in the square grey boxes, and you can see what they are on the slide. So the second part of the modelling that we did was with 78 interviews of a number of different stakeholders. So this included slightly older adolescents who'd already gone through this school transition, as well as several adult stakeholder groups. And from these in-depth interviews, we've basically created a process model of dyadic friendship formation in this age group. I don't have time to go into this in a huge amount of detail here, but I just want to pick up on some aspects that we've used then to design our support structures. So in this process model, an individual in interaction with a single partner basically starts doing what we call basic relationship work. So that's identifying the sort of requirements of the environment that they're in and the parameters within which the relationship is working. And with this basic relationship work, the dyad is spending time together, and ultimately they pass what we're terming security milestones. So these are things like, for example, mutual trust. And once those security milestones are passed, then with basically interactions with increased intimacy can happen, and we're calling this advanced relationship work. And the final aspect of the sort of theoretical process to develop our support structures that I want to just quickly mention was 52 workshops that we did across the last year of primary school, first year of secondary school, with almost 1,000 children, where we were doing game-based discussions around what is a supportive peer relationship, what are your fears around transition in this sort of social social context, and then how digital technology is used to communicate with peers. So we put all of this modelling together and basically came up with the complex package of interventions that we've got. So we have school-based interventions, which you can see in the green rectangle on the left, and digital interventions, which you can see in the blue rectangle on the right. And I'm just going to highlight some of those, depending on how much time I have until Sonia stops me. So first of all, we have a mini curriculum, which is entirely classroom based, and that's designed around the potential determinants of supportive peer relationships that we identified in the meta-analysis that I talked to you about. And ultimately, this mini curriculum has 10 sessions that are designed around social emotional learning of those skills. But the key thing for us with this curriculum is that it also allows us to integrate sessions that are specifically designed to support the digital elements of our intervention package, so that it can act as a safe gatekeeping platform. The other classroom-based intervention that I wanted to talk about is Lena. So Lena is a piece of immersive theatre that's facilitated with augmented reality. So basically, children arrive at the classroom, and there's a fictional pupil, Lena, who's mysteriously disappeared, and it's their role to cooperate with other peers in their class to find out what has happened to Lena. And this is created around contact theory and stigma theory. Ultimately, the augmented reality allows the children to find things in their environment and interact with those things together with their peers in increasingly more complex collaborative tasks. There's an intelligent matching system within this that allows us to find the right children to match to the right task at the right time, in line with this contact theory and stigma theory framework. So it's all about reducing discrimination and combating any form of exclusion that's around any form of sort of otherness within the classroom. And then moving on to the digital interventions. So we have 2 emotion regulation training games. So those are really tackling these skills that we've found are important for supporting supportive peer relationships. So Brains is for training individual emotion regulation. And it's primarily psychoeducation, but it's based around a really fun framework. So it's set within a brain that's been overtaken by a zombie, and the player's task is to basically rebuild all of these emotion regulation networks that have gone wrong in the brain. So
1 minute, Kate.
Oh, okay, need to hurry. So I'm going to skip over the other emotion regulation game and just come on to the chat peer matching. So we've got a peer matching system that allows us to do basic relationship building work with things like, say, people bingo, where you're just interacting with a single peer and finding out some basic facts. But then that feeds into a graphic novel where adolescents have to collaborate with an interaction partner to make a complex decision about how to proceed in a story, and that will then allow us to facilitate the more advanced relationship building work. And that's just all of us, and so all of those things we're currently co-developing at the moment. I'm sorry that it was such a rush through everything.
It's great. I have to say, I think you're doing particularly wonderful work, actually, with quite a lot of long-term implications. But just a question that's come through on the chat from Tim is, do you think that giving children mitigating loneliness skills early in life helps them later in life and could help reduce loneliness and perhaps also mental health problems in the population at large?
I mean, that's certainly, I guess, our assumption at present. So, I mean, there's various lines of literature that would suggest support that, and that's certainly the stance that we started from in developing all of this. But I mean, I guess another reason that we think it's a particularly important window of opportunity is that a lot of these, so all of those individual building blocks that I talked around, the sort of emotion regulation, the social skills, a lot of those things are developing particularly rapidly during that period. And so just within a sort of brain development context, if we think about that, then training around that age should represent a particularly strong opportunity.